Hey everyone, Brian here. Today we're going to look at 3 tips to help improve your chord switching. As a beginning guitar player, one of the hardest things to get good at is taking full chord shapes and switching in and out of them in time smoothly. Tip number 1, look for finger connections in your switching. What I mean is, if you look at one chord and the next chord you're going to, there could be common fingers that you could be using in the same chord. A lot of times when you might play a G to an E minor, you can notice that the pointer finger can actually stay down during that switch. So instead of lifting up the entire chord shape to rebuild again, look for those finger connections. G to E minor is a great one to see. Also, if you're going from C to A minor, C has the middle and pointer on the 2nd fret D string and the pointer finger on the 1st fret B string. In an A minor chord, those are also still there. When you go to the A minor, you only have to actually add one finger, C to A minor, without moving those top 2. Another great one to see is G to D. In the 4-finger G shape, that ring finger can be pivoted right into your D chord. So one of the simplest ways to get better at your chord switching is really take a look at the chords you're switching to, see which fingers you can actually keep down and planted during your switch. Tip number 2, practice using a metronome. When using a metronome, it really gives you, first of all, a gauge of how fast you're making your switches and if you're even getting better. The best way to practice your chord switching with a metronome is to put it on a slow BPM first, maybe 50, 60 beats per minute, and start to make your chord switches between every 4 beats. This way you can start to really track your progress and also see if you can start to bump up that speed very slowly. Here's an example of practicing at 60 beats per minute, giving you 4 beats between each switch. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Using a metronome really gives you a sense of accountability because that bridge is burning behind you to make sure you make that switch within 4 beats. And like I said, as time goes on, bump it up to 60, 70, 80, 90. This way you really track your progress, but at the same time, it does help understand where your speed is at and where your next goal should be. Tip number 3, especially during a strumming pattern, you can notice that the rhythm of the whole song can stop if your chord switching is a little bit rough still. So you might run into things that sound like this. And then you have to stop and then recreate it. So my 3rd tip is what's called the open string cheat. On the very last upstrum of your strumming pattern, you are allowed to just strike the top 3 strings and lift up all your fingers during that strum to give you a little time to get to the next one. Meaning that if I'm going really slow, my last upstrum, down, down, up, down, I'm lifting up my fingers during that last one and allowing just those open top thin strings to be heard as I'm making that switch. In real context of a song and strumming, you really don't hear that, and most guitar players are doing that when you're hearing somebody switching fast. See, I was doing that in between every single chord. The key is, though, to make sure that, again, you're not striking all 6, especially those low ones, because that could definitely come out sounding muddy. Yeah, it doesn't really work that way. So always aim for the top 3, and it's for that last upstrum before making your switch. So the open string cheat can really help you make that chord switch become more smoothly, especially during a fast-paced song. Giving yourself that time to make your switch. So hope these 3 tips help. If you like what you heard, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and make sure you turn on the alert so you can know when new videos are put out each week. Thanks for tuning in, and put any questions in the comments below.